So, somehow, even during a classic Sonic game, I managed to pull off an average part length of over half an hour.
That's her, Lewis.
We gotta get every ring. Every ring.
I miss the days when all my playthroughs would just somehow inexplicably end at 19 parts, though. I'm a Stephen King fan, so that would I enjoyed that.
You should have milked this one. You guys should have put a Game Grumps and made every part like exactly 10 minutes long.
Gotta make that happen.
I just read the day when Lewis eventually plays Sonic 1 Omochao Edition. Also, Lewis, glad to know our launch phase zone instincts haven't worn.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. This is like exactly the location of a launch base zone special ring too. But you know, we need to do some actually good fan hacks on this channel at some point.
Yeah, like Sonic Mania.
We're doing one now.
Touche. But like the only fan hack we've done so far is Sonic to the Lost Worlds.
And that was a masterpiece.
Lewis, you had all the fucking emeralds. Why did you waste 30 seconds of my life making me sit through that?
50 rings.
Gotta get
Supersonic.
rings.
You don't need help. This game fucking throws them at you.
Also, what is this enemy is what Hoppy or whatever his name is? He was a dummy down enemy in Sonic 1.
Yeah, he was an enemy that was not included in Sonic 1. That's interesting that they included that.
And fun fact, if you enable debug mode in Green Hill Zone, you can place hoppies, the original hoppies in the
cool.
game.
Has anyone
including the wrecking ball of Robotnik's
They-
Automatic, which was originally an obstacle that they removed for the original Sonic 1.
Yeah, it
You
was
could-
like the
you were
original
able to-
Crash Bandicoot boulder, which makes the Sonic's
Yeah.
ass game moniker.
You can push it,
me.
you can ride on top of it. Yeah, essentially.
Debug mode is amazing, and I'm so glad they included it in this game.
Has anyone bothered to like? Because I'm too lazy. Has anyone bothered to like pause and figure out if those newspapers actually say anything?
It says Mania on the headline.
It's the Sonic fan base, so probably.
No, it's a really blurry sprite. Like the sprite has a blur effect in its individual frames, so you can't see much of what it says, but you can
It
just
does say Mania.
you,
though.
yeah, you
Mania's
can
the
sort
only
of
thing
you can sort of make out the word Mania in the headline.
I would
That's
love it if one of them was just really blurry, but it just clearly said Sonic was never good.
Sonic was never good.
You know, it is a bit of a habit of mine to like pause and squint at newspapers and things like video games or.
I tried once, but I couldn't make anything. Or if they put a DuckTales Remastered, and it just said, "OMG, what the hell is this?"
So, you know, in Sonic Adventure 2, the newspaper actually says something, so it makes it clearly the better game than Sonic Mania.
On the subject of Sonic Adventure, though, I am glad, like, even for Sonic Adventure fans, that this game has happened, because it's hard to explain this, but more so than the other 3D games, the adventure titles had a clear intention of trying to get some of the physics design into a 3D space. And they probably could have kept on doing that and made it work if they hadn't gone multi-platform for Sonic Heroes and had to make a whole new engine for it.
And that engine just wasn't bad in general.
Sonic Heroes, they had to basically rush out an entirely new engine and control scheme for Sonic Heroes because of the switch to a completely new engine that was optimized for the GameCube, PS2, and all the other multi-platform
Well, you know what, Lewis?
titles.
I've read something somewhere, and again, I'm not sure how true this is, but apparently, I think one of the developers said that it was apparently the GameCube portion which gave them the most trouble. So I guess if it was just PlayStation, Xbox, it's possible they would have been able to make something.
Yeah, but that's
played
weird
better.
though, because Adventure 1 and 2 control fine on GameCube, and those are just straight up
but
ports.
those exactly those are ports. But I think the problem was making a new thing that would
work
easily
on all-
allow them, which would
work
easily
on all
allow them to go through
platforms.
E3 platforms. But I guess the GameCube was maybe technically a bit harder to develop for. I just want to say, Act 2 of this zone is visually it's perfection. This level is so fucking beautiful to look at.
It's my favorite act in the game.
So fucking beautiful.
It's interesting that for Press Garden, they essentially made two entirely different original zone gimmicks.
and it's great.
I love the visual motif. The soundtrack's amazing.
Yeah.
I love the flowers, the like petals falling. That is so good.
The sprite
Yeah.
animation in this game really is very, very well done.
Yeah, and Oh yeah. By the way, these things that look like they might be the hilltop zone, no, aquatic ruin darts that you can stand on, aren't darts at all. They are sideways asterons.
That's
Oh
cool.
shit, you're right.
That was a cool thing in the boss fight where he used them as ninja stars.
He used
That was-
asterons as ninja stars. Yeah.
Oh, great, Ted! Spoiler alert!
The funny thing about that boss, it's a giant Shinobi reference.
Yep, all
Well,
of
this
all of
entire
the sound
stage is a
effects from
giant Shinobi reference.
Shinobi. It's great.
Yeah.
Because I asked you myself after I played the game. I was like, dude, what is the story behind Press Garden Act 2? I was more talking musically. I know he wasn't in charge of the graphic design or assets, but he was given the concept art of the stage, and he designed the music based off of Shinobi.
Nice.
And
Well, the
it
boss is basically.
Shinobi.
What's the character's name? Show something.
Probably Ryu if he's a ninja.
Yeah.
It's SBO.
No, but it's
another
basically a Shinobi reference because all of his sound effects are from
from Shinobi. The only thing that would have made that reference better is if you also fight Batman and Spider-Man in that boss fight as well. Then that would have been a true Shinobi reference.
Shinobi
Yeah.
fought Batman and Spider-Man?
In the first printings of the first Shinobi game, they had kind of like unofficial Spider-Man and Batman boss characters. But I guess once Marvel and DC found out, they were like, no.
No.
And so they were just removed from all future. But I think I have a first printing Shinobi, which has them in it. But that game's fucking hard, man. So I've never been able to get to them.
The funny thing about that is that it's not separate characters. I forget which one it starts with. I think it starts with Spider-Man, but one turns into the other.
Oh
one,
really?
these
Oh
two.
okay. But yeah, I believe then that boss just had the Spider-Man and Batman just flat out just removed because again.
So Peter Parker
copyright
and Bruce
infringement.
Wayne are the same person. Good to know. I mean, to be fair, have you ever seen Batman and Spider-Man in the same place at the same time?
Yeah, during the Marvel and DC crossover, but yes.
Guys, Johnny Lewis, this is the thing that will finally connect Ryan and Ted, a character from both their respective comic book companies in the same game.
Yeah,
we can
but you
finally
know,
have
we
peace.
should do Shinobi.
We can have peace at BrainScratch now. The Civil War's over.
But you know, in the Runaways, Spider-Man did admit to being Batman. It might not have been a joke.
Yeah, and no, and it's I think Daredevil where somebody said, "Hey, look, it's Red Batman."
Yeah. And in return, when I forget who Barry was talking to, but someone was going over with Barry about better names for speedsters because they can't keep calling each one of them Flash. One of them brings up the idea of Quicksilver, and Barry says that's definitely taken.
I will say, Lewis, part of me is kind of not annoyed, but like it's a shame you had to cheese through that boss fight. Because I think this is actually one of the more ingenious boss fight. I like the fact that his sword doesn't hurt you; it just freezes you, which can actually save you. Like the more you hit him, the more of the asterons he'll send out. What I sometimes do is just get frozen, and it'll protect you from.
And it clears out the Asterons.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's an interesting idea, actually.
I find it odd that every stage doesn't have a transition.
Yeah, it
I
makes
don't
everything
like
feel
it.
very disjointed. And they only use like the random warpy thing stone like twice, which also
The
makes
Phantom
it with
Yeah, it's called the Phantom Ruby, and it's
Not a time stone, Derek. Do your research next time.
Read the enclosed instruction book.
the Phantom Ruby might be like, spoiler alert, skip to a random time in the future, I guess, if you really want to avoid this.
Skip to the next part because we're going to
I'm
spend
not
the next
gonna
10
remember to
minutes
put. I'm
spoiling
not gonna
shit.
remember that I need to put in a time by the time I get to editing this. But yeah, this game ties in pretty blatantly to Sonic Forces at the end, and the Phantom Ruby has a sound effect very similar to that Infinite character. You know, the Edgefest
Yep.
monster of the week.
Does
thing
it play
that
the
looks like a
music?
Pokemon.
Oh no! Oh, that's not.
I am
awful.
the
No, it
toughest
doesn't
of
play the
breeze. I
music.
am the toughest of these.
I think that would have been a little too unsubtle.
Well, they do play a riff as part of the Supersonic boss. That's also part of the Force's main theme. So
Yeah, it's a pretty blatant tie-in, and
What do you guys feel about that?
which is interesting because I think it was in a somewhat recent interview where I think it was Azuka said where he basically works under the assumption that there are two different Sonic universes he works in depending on what game he's making.
Which is really, really, really dumb.
Yes, it is.
It's almost like he changed the idea about that like 20 years after he started making Sonic games. You know.
Which, yeah,
Like,
so
yeah,
apparently,
but you know,
it's like
it's
there's
dumb,
two
but
worlds,
it's
one with
also-
human-
It's dumb, but it's also practical if they decide they want to have a classic Sonic series as an ongoing thing.
No, it's
Yes,
not,
which is why
really.
I'm curious as to what they'll do with it regarding forces.
Which I would actually disagree with that because like basically Zuka said there's two worlds, one with humans and one without. But in terms of the Japanese canon, all of these games took place on Earth. So I mean, yeah, humans aren't here, but it would explain shit like why there were human hieroglyphics in Sandopolis Zone. So just the notion of them having two worlds is really fucking stupid.
We're nerds.
Video game.
But,
One of them better be Mobius. Nerd.
Probably missed opportunity here with the constellations in the sky. Should have had the Tails sprite from Sonic 2.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
He's dead. Yeah, and then as soon as you get to this level, if you're playing with Sonic and Tails, Tails disappears. And you're not sure why, and it's because he's fucking dead, that's why.
okay, so who here thinks Stardust Speedway is still an annoying level to get through?
Me, I don't like CD's levels.
I will say, I think Stardust Speedway, of the two CD levels, comes off better because Stardust Speedway was one of the was one of the more fun levels in that game anyway.
I thought in this game, I've only played like the first zone of CD, but I thought that Metallic Madness was more fun in Mania than.
I hate it. I mean, it is, but I Metallic Madness is probably my least favorite zone in the entire game. I think it's so fucking
Metallic
tedious.
Madness is kind of a boring level in Sonic CD, but its level design is more interesting in Mania, thankfully.
At first, I thought it was a new stage, like in general, because I hadn't played that far in Sonic CD.
Well, there's an argument for their turning stages. If you haven't played the old games, all these zones are new.
Said Izuka.
Yeah, but the game is very clearly aimed at Sonic.
No, I know. I'm just joking.
Guys, I'm gonna say I wish every zone had act transitions as cool as this. This is such a cool little neat idea. It's so
what
cool.
confuses me though is Metallic Madness is clearly on Little Planet. Because it has the time travel and the transitions and all that. But they leave Little Planet. And then they journey back to Little Planet for Metallic Madness. And this is not something that's just random stage orders. There's transitions for it, and then there's
sometimes there are.
and then when you're going through Lava Reef, you can see Little Planet in the background. But it's like if we're going to Little Planet, why did we leave Little Planet?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, maybe it's out of our hands.
I think the stage transitions is something that they had to kind of work in after the fact, because I'm sure that they were told, okay, you have to have such and such stages from these games, and you don't want to have two Sonic CD stages right after each other. So it's a little bit awkward because of that.
Well, I'm not as confident about that because, and this brings up just a difference in the way this game's design mentality goes compared to what usually happens when a publisher and developer try to play the nostalgia card this hard. You know how when Mega Man 9 came out, it was channeling the spirit of Mega Man 2 really goddamn hard?
Which was a really annoying, but yes, I do remember that.
And you know how, whenever Mario does the nostalgia thing, it's always Mario 3 that they're focused on, to the exclusion of Mario World, which is arguably better.
Incorrect, but please continue.
Arguably, debatably, it's up there. You could make a case for it.
They're both fucking near perfect games, but yes.
It's that annoying thing that a developer does where they look at the game that's most popular and they try to play the nostalgia to that, rather than doing it as well-rounded as, say, this game does, where basically every game in the franchise gets at least a little bit. Well, at least every 2D game in the franchise gets at least a little bit of time in the sun.
At the same time, you did bring up Mega Man 9, though, and in that case, that game didn't bring back any old Robot Masters, It was trying to
It didn't bring back any old Robot Masters, but you see, Mega Man doesn't need to bring back a specific Robot Master.
Unless it's Gutsman.
Or at least his arse.
The reason it doesn't need to bring back a specific Robot Master is that half the Robot Masters are going to be reusing the Robot Master skills anyway. It's just a fact of how those games are designed.
Yep.
Yeah, but I honestly, Mega Man 9 reuses less, granted, the feel of the game is like Mega Man 2, but it reuses less music or specific visual things than you would really think. Like, there's not much remix music in Mega Man 9. It's really just jingles and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
but you know that's important in itself because even when they're trying to be original, they're really focused on the nostalgia for one specific game.
I love this boss fight. I think this is
Really?
I
don't. The second half I'm fine with. The upcoming part though I absolutely hate. I think
Why?
it's the worst boss
It's
in the
easy
game.
as sin.
Oh, the part with the
problem-
little Sonic, I hate it. I hate the part with the little
It's easy as
It's
sin
like so-
once
it's
you
so
figure it
fucking
out.
easy.
The thing is, the game does a very poor job conveying that's what it wants you to do.
Yeah, and he also bounces around all over the place, and it's hard to get him to hit.
Also, high Knuckles chaotic reference.
Man, you guys are saying that it's hard to get him to hit.
That is with your Super Sonic because you go too damn fast.
It's almost impossible with
Just-
Supersonic.
Why aren't you spin dashing, Lewis? Spin dash.
Because if
easier.
you spin dash his Supersonic, he has too much speed and he knocks him way over Metal Sonic's head. So I was trying to get the right amount of momentum to aim this properly.
My problem with this boss fight is it goes on too long.
That could be said about a lot of the bosses in this game, though. Is that they
This
go
one
on
in
forever.
particular, though, I think out of all of them, I think this one goes on the longest.
I like it.
I think
like
it's
it.
fine that Metal Sonic's boss fight goes on long because this is
Yeah.
we're at the midpoint of the game, so this makes a nice mid-game climax boss.
Which again,
which-
after you.
No, it's just like a mid-game climax boss. It can be a really effective thing, and Sonic 3 and Knuckles did that perfectly, I think.
I will say one thing. I love the fact that they bring back Silver Sonic from Sonic 2 Master System, and they even use the same sound effect. Like that,
Yeah.
that kind of attention to detail is so enjoyable.
I would have expected them to bring back Sonic 2 Genesis Silver Sonic before the 8-bit version.
I guess so. Well, I guess.
Here's the thing: when I first saw this boss and I saw the 8-bit Silver Sonic, I was kind of expecting, oh, they're probably gonna do a roll call of all the other Mecha Sonics.
Nah.
Like,
Nope.
here comes like Silver
This
Sonic,
isn't
one,
Lego
Mega Sonic
Dimensions,
3.
Johnny. They can't do it again.
Well, god damn it, I'm playing Sonic 4 again.
Yeah, best game ever made, baby.
Yeah, high five.
Yeah. Although again, just because I like CD, I think even people who really like CD, a lot of them I've spoken to, even they don't really defend the bosses in that game. They're kind of weak, and I actively hate the Metal Sonic race in CD. I love the fact that since then, in Generations, Episode 4, and this, because we don't include Heroes, because that never happened. I think that Sega are finally given some really good bosses to one of my favorite villains in the entire franchise. So that kind of makes me happy.
Also, just buy Metal Sonic. We'll see you in a few months.
Here's the thing: can I just say, it's just like, I know this is just a straight line, but there's one particular tile along on the floor that's darker than the rest. And I keep thinking it's a fucking bottomless pit, and I
Yep.
don't
That
know over it. Yeah.
Well, that's where you came up. So
Yeah, it's the entrance.
And this thing also, I love the fact that we got a kind of like a really kind of dark remix of Stardust Speedway Bad Future, because it has to be done. Even though I would argue Metal Sonic's theme from Episode 2 is superior, because that game is perfect in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah. Okay.
You Sonic 4 apologist.
All right. We were friends, and now we're not anymore.
Are you, Johnny? Are you saying that you don't enjoy the Metal Sonic theme from Episode 2?
It's not better than Stardust Speedway Bad Future.
Maybe it's just because I've heard this Stardust Speedway so much that kind of like
Oh,
grieves me.
God.
I'm kind
I've
of
never
getting
seen that.
fatigued.
I've never seen that impact happen directly. It's usually off screen when it happens.
Oh yeah, it makes the thing just disappear.
No,
That's
it
great.
didn't just disappear. What happened was that it fell apart in a flicker. And, one similarity between Sonic Mania and the classics is that it hates being recorded at 30 FPS. I can't record at 60 FPS yet, so...
Sonic didn't fall at the end of that stage. Worst game ever. Oh, wait.
Yeah, but you know what the worst part is? If you load your game at the start of Hydrocity,
You just appear at the bottom.
you appear in the water. And I was so thrown off by this. I took a break there. I was so thrown off by this that I'm like, what? What part of the level am I at?
How did I get here? Sonic the Moonhawk.
which that makes no sense, because even when you would replay it in 3 and K, they would still show the falling animation.
Yeah,
also,
you would start falling down, and the reason that they did that was that so you could go up and get these boxes at the beginning by hanging a left.
I will say one thing though, because I tried this yesterday with Tails. The kind of section on the right-hand side when you fall down is no longer there. There is no alternate pathway to take that way.
Yeah, you can't fly or climb your way up to an alternate pathway. The only alternate pathways are at that fork in the road that I just passed.
Now, would you guys agree with me in saying that Hydrocity feels like the least changed zone in the game out of the returning zones?
No, actually, I would not.
I would.
No, I'd say like Act 2 is one of the least changed, but that's because the original Hydrocity level design, like a lot of people love Hydrocity for some reason that I cannot fathom, because it's
Hydrocity.
It's one of the most straightforward and boring levels in the game. It's just a bunch of speed sections. The water is basically a non-entity for most of it.
I think that's why people like it, because it's not one of those annoying Sonic water levels.
Yeah, it's a water level which almost doesn't feel like a water level.
Yeah, but you see, Sonic 2 already got that right by creating a level design where you were rewarded for speed with opportunities to stay out of the water. You know?
True, but
same with Hydrocity.
Yeah, but true, Lewis. But Hydrocity has a much better music track, so I think that's why some people may prefer it.
Hydrocity doesn't reward you for knowing the level by letting you stay out of the water. It just has really small water levels that are obligatory, and then you speed through a lot. And then, like, if you really want to explore the water, you can, but it's not something that's probably going to happen during a natural playthrough of the level.
I think that was something that they were trying to mitigate with Mania in particular, because that's the entire purpose of the boat.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, a high Sonic 2 Master System Game Gear reference.
Man, you guys are nerds. You can pick out these things. Who the fuck played
I'm
Sonic
pretty
Master
sure
System
if
on the
Forces
game?
has any sort of Adventure 2 callbacks, you'd be the first.
Yeah, okay, but John, people actually played Sonic Adventure 2. Nobody played Sonic 2 on the Master System.
I did. I had that game grown up. Get fucked.
Sometimes it's beneficial to watch your own gameplay recordings. I just realized that I ran straight past a special ring that I didn't even notice was there.
Dude, you must have been really tired.
Okay, here's the thing about this game's mean in that it'll show you special rings and one-off boxes that you can't get anymore.
Yeah, you have no idea where they are.
Yeah.
Get good, nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wound up.
Thanks for the money, Dick.
The biggest instance of that was that, like, I didn't see the first special ring in Oil Ocean Zone until I was past it. And I tried to work my way back to it, but like they have these fans that are positioned to prevent you from being able to get back to that area. So I actually had to kill Sonic, and then start the level over and find my way to it from the front.
Sega's been trying to do that for years. Two things about animation. One, I love the fact that they added frames of Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails actively kind of like breathing in the bubbles when they get them underwater. And two, just because I figure it's been a while since I've gone back and actively studied 3 and K, did either Super or Hypersonic have animations where his spines moved when you stood still?
No. Sonic 2, I think, had his spines moving, but none of them had that general animation that Supersonic does in this one, where he's sort of pumping himself up. You know.
That's really good. That's really cool. I like that. But yeah, I think also in terms of music, I forget who I was having this conversation with. It might have been TJ actually, but I think these kind of Sonic 3 level remixes, like especially Lava Reef and Hydrocity, you could make the case are the most they feel less like remixes and just like they've just been remastered in a sense.
Right.
But I love the synth choices for Hydrocity. It sounds so good.
Yeah, Hydrocity, I like Hydrocity.
Hydrocity sounds amazing.
I actually think that Lava Reef Act 1 in this game is worse than the original.
I actually agree with that. Lava Reef Act 1 is a bit weak. Lava Reef
That
Act 2
guitar in
knocks
Act 2
it out of
is
the
so
park.
good. That guitar, guys. I'm gonna
the bass, but the bass is the most important part of that song, and it's worse.
Yeah, Lava Reef Act 1 is a bit weak, I think. But one thing that I will say is that Oil Ocean Zone is freaking amazing in this soundtrack.
I love this boss.
This boss is so
great.
dumb, but I love it.
It's one of the easiest bosses in the game, but it's so fun. And
you can also press down to launch bombs.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
I didn't know that either. Huh.
Yeah, it's how you're supposed to get rid of the bombs if there's too many on the screen at once.
Oh, cool. See, but one thing to go back with Ted about is this zone. To call back both bosses, aside from the first phase in the Act 2 boss, all the bosses are just taken from the original Hydrocity. Which I mean, like this was
it's really like they did this level intentionally backwards. Not only is their own design mentality of making the first act, the original zone, backwards, but they also did the Act 2 boss at the end of Act 1 with Sonic in the boss mech, and then they did the Act 1 boss in Act 2 with Eggman in the non-Eggman boss mech.
Yep. Also, why did Eggman lose his scuba gear there for?
It blew up. Apparently, his scuba gear was explosive, but not explosive enough to injure him.
Oh, that's the last time you ever buys anything from Stark Industries, the prick.
Also, there is a achievement if you can knock the goalpost at the end enough. If you get two, yeah. Also, I will say one small. Then this is a very minor visual nitpick. The motion of when the hands like come up, pick up Sonic and make him run to gain up speed. The animation of him doesn't look like he's going that fast compared to the original, where it looks like he's going insanely fast.
He went to top speed immediately.
In like half a second, he went to like top speed, which is again very very small minor thing, but it's just it's weird for a game that got so many things spot on that something like that just was kind of like missed in a way.
The game's attention to detail is really good, so when you see a detail that they missed, it sticks out.
Yeah, it kind of stands out more.
Where's that day one patch?
that is the only thing. That's the only thing they changed. They leave in all of the soft locking, all of the music.
We changed Sonic's rubbing animation on the hands in Hydrocity.
Oh, thank God! Now I'm gonna buy another.
10 out of 10, best game ever made. Now, fuck you, Sonic.
Let's be honest, you were going to buy every version of this game that ever comes out ever anyway.
Later. Quick question though. I know the boss fight's over, but I never gotten hit in the Eggomatic. But
me neither. High five.
Is it like a standard hit animation? Do you lose your rings, or does Sonic like look towards the screen and flash white, just like Robotnik?
No, you do lose your rings if you get hit. I tried it out of sheer curiosity.
Yeah, but Ryan, is there a special animation, or does he just kind of like?
No,
flash?
the Eggomatic just flashes and you lose your rings.
Gotcha. I know. So did after you.
I was just gonna say, like, it's Hydrocity Zone with the rotating platforms like this, where I first really started to notice the differences between the
get out of Supersonic! Damn it! This is a good remix. Jesus Christ.
We're talking over it. No one's going to hear it anyway.
I hear it right now.
Just coming up as a side thing, once you get to the point where you can hug the wall left and get the invincibility box, the next this coming up tube thing, if you hold to the left, there will be a special ring there in the wall.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah, so right there. You just saw it for a brief flash on the way down.
I'm actually going to get that.
Oh, you actually got it. Okay, then. I know a lot of people miss that one.
Really? Oh no, because that's from the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we know, but I know a lot of people who didn't get it. So it's like I can't find any special rings in Hydrocity. Well, there's one right there.
It's almost like this game is made exclusively for people who have been playing these games for 20 years. Who would have thunk?
So what you're saying is I should buy another copy.
The obvious counter argument to that is that in the original games we somehow found that stuff too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but you found it because you played it 30 times.
No, actually, that particular ring. I remember
only 28 times, Ted. Fuck you.
I remember this specifically, but that particular ring was one of the ones I found, one of the earliest ones I found, because it's actually not that well hidden. In fact, in this version, you see it if you're paying attention as you zoom past it on the other side of the wall.
Thanks
so
to
you know to stop and start looking around for a way to get to it. In fact, my first impulse, because I forgot about that ring in the original game while I was playing this the first time, is that I tried to go back up the speed chute and get through the wall on that side, but then realized I couldn't. So I'm like, I gotta try the other side, don't I?
I will say though, I think it was probably done on purpose, and I can't remember if you mentioned this in the previous two parts. My bad, but I think the developers kind of went out of their way to hide those rings, like much harder than they were in the original, because you could find them. Just by fucking around, but like these, like on my first play, I had 3 Chaos Emeralds out of 5 rings I was able to find in the entire game.
I think it
Yeah.
depends on the stage, because some of them are really obnoxious. Like
Some of them are really
for
well-hidden.
the life of me, I can only find one in both acts of Metallic Madness. Just
If this
one.
was
I don't
Sonic
think I
4, you
found
wouldn't be drowning now. Just saying. Just saying.
I didn't find
you
a
wouldn't be drowning.
single ring in like the final like 10. I think no, like the final 5 acts in the game. I don't think I found a single ring. So
Jesus Christ, that was clutch shit.
Lewis, you jammy bastard. If you'd been 1 second more, you'd have died then.
There are some 30-odd rings in total throughout the game, I think, but I think they made them deliberately more difficult to find, because unlike Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and this comes with the game being split in 2 again, you don't have to find all 7 Chaos Emeralds within 1/2 of the game anymore. So the rings can be well hidden, and it has a arguably positive impact on the
yeah,
Well,
it
I mean,
says you
well,
only need to get 7 emeralds out of 30 rings, as opposed to 14 emeralds out of however many there are in Sonic 3.
Well, again, to be fair, you could technically just get the Chaos Emerald in the 3 section, and then just never jump into a special ring, and you'd be fine. You could just keep your emeralds.
But because the game was split into 2 halves, you had to be able to get all 7 Chaos Emeralds within the 4-zone window that Sonic and Knuckles gives you as well. So they had to be easy enough to find, you see.
So what you're saying is Sonic 4 is the best game ever made. Okay, got it.
They're just more deviously hidden in this game, as a general rule. At first, I thought there was less, but no, there's a bunch.
I can't wait for the comments on this video. People who think I'm actually being serious every time I say
that
Sonic
happened
4 is
like
the
that
best game
happened part
ever
1,
made.
dude. Pay attention.
You Sonic 4 apologist.
Milk Sonic did nothing wrong. Get bent, Ryan.